What's up everybody, welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andrei and today I'm gonna be doing an update on MMTLP and FINRA saga.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up.
And guys, for today's video I have several quite interesting news. First of all, I will show you that Next Bridge Hydrocarbons issued its Form 10K. It is an annual report. And yes, it is a very good news in general, but I will show you some details about this potentially in today's video or in upcoming videos as well. And what is more importantly, on today's video I will show you the bombshell that was dropped by George Palikros and Curtis in regards to the FOIA letters and the questions that George Palikros asked to the people who were mentioned in these letters. And in my opinion, it is a very interesting update. And before we dive deep into all of this, guys, please hit the like button for YouTube algorithm. And if you want to know more about technical analysis, if you want to receive trade calls on pretty much consistent basis with the risk-free 100% money-back guarantee offer, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my Patreon account. And guys, you've seen many of my trade calls, all delivering strong returns in just hours. Now it's your turn to trade smarter. Join my Safe Haven Patreon tier, built for traders who want consistency, structure and real results. You will get a detailed plan to protect your portfolio, monthly one-on-one Zoom sessions with me and private Discord access with all trade alerts, lessons and exclusive updates. And here is the best part. If you don't earn more than your subscription price within 30 days, you will receive a full refund, no question asked, as long as your trading account balance is at least $2,500 and you've taken all the recommended trades during the period. No excuses, no fine print. You profit or you don't pay. Here are just a few of my trade results from the first half of October. But don't wait, this offer is available for a limited time only. Once the spots are filled, enrollment will close. Join today and let's start building your edge in the market. So guys, and let's begin with this Form 10K. To be honest, it is not so interesting because we don't, we know all the information that was mentioned in this form, and to be honest, it is still 1 year delay in the filing of these forms, and we have to see all 10K and 10Q forms in order to see that NBH is eligible for the S1 to be effective. And as long as we don't have all these forms, we cannot rely on the S1 statement. And for now I want to show you just one number. It is the number of shares outstanding as of December the 10th of 2025. And you can see that for now it is 264,637,563 shares. And let me remind you that at the time of the spin-off, basically exactly 3 years ago, it was just 165 million shares. And this number pretty much doubled since that. And it's doubled without any I would say without any actions that could improve the intrinsic value of the company itself. And yes, it is the problem of Next Bridge Hydrocarbons, one of the problems, that the dilutional process is still active, but the delivering of the value of the company is some kind of shady act, let's put it this way. So, and let's switch to the bombshell that I announced basically 1 or 2 videos ago. And this tweet was written by Van, where George Palikros, and he refers to the space call where George Palikros stated that he will drop this bombshell. And here it is. Curtis on December 11th wrote this tweet directly related to the president of OTC markets, Carlson Cromwell. and SEC Chief of Staff Amanda Fisher. Let me quote this. New FOIA reveals OTC Market President and CEO Cromwell Carlson reached out to former SEC Chief of Staff Amanda Fisher in a last-minute preparation for SEC Chair Gary Gensler's public discussion with Dave Lower. His intent was clearly to steer the narrative around MMTLP. And guys, this is quite interesting statement, and in a minute I will show you what did George Parkhurst say about this story. And for now, we have these new FOIA letters that was sent, you can see, on February 22nd of 2023 from Amanda Fisher to all these recipients. And here is another part of this letter, and well, I will show you some details within a minute, but first of all, let's take a look at the George Parkhurst's statements. Right after Curtis reposted, basically published these letters, George Parkhurst wrote these two letters. First of all, dear Miss Fisher, you once warned that transparency matters more than ever. You tweeted that FOIA offices were being gutted by people who don't understand or respect government. We agree. But now, thanks to FOIA, we have a clear review of what respect for government looked like inside the SEC during your tenure and in your inbox. According to the record, right before Chairman Gensler's public appearance with David Lower, you received a narrative steering talking points from Cromwell Carlson, CEO of OTC Market, framing MMTLP investors as amateurs, defending FINRA and preconditioning the chairman's messaging. Then, hours after the live event, around midnight, you received another message from him. If that's not government being steered by industry, what is it? After 3 years of denials, delays, and deflections, the SEC told the public that Chairman Gensler's phone text has been lost. No backups, just gone. But thanks to MMTLP FOIA, 65 pages of those messages resurfaced earlier this year, including ones showing direct discussions about MMTLP between FINRA, OTC, and senior SEC staff before and after the trading halt. You were there, you were named, you were informed, and you were Gensler's gatekeeper. Yet we've seen no clarification, no correction, and no explanation from you. So I have a few questions, not just from the public, but soon perhaps from Congress. And here is the list of questions, guys. I would say these questions are very interesting. Let me quote to them one by one. First question, did you forward or brief Chairman Gensler on Cromwell Carlson's MMTLP talking points prior to the space call, or had any discussion post with Gensler or Lower? Second question, did you alter, filter, or suppress any internal SEC communications related to MMTLP complaints or investor protections at any time? 3. Did you receive similar inputs from any industry players ahead of any public messaging from the chair's office? If so, who and for which stocks? 4. Did you notify investor advocate Rick Fleming of enforcement terms of any concerns raised internally about the halt threshold list or synthetic exposure at any time? 5. Did you or your staff participate in delaying, reducing, or downplaying FOIA response processes related to MMTLP or any other stock during your tenure? Coinbase, Tesla, BTC, GME, DJT. When you saw the narrative shaping from the CEO of the OTC market, did you flag it as inappropriate, or did you amplify it intentionally? It is a very interesting question. 7. And now that the documents contradict public statements, will you issue any form of clarification or acknowledgement? Retail investors were told they misunderstood. Issuers received no timely explanation. Then they were all told to move on. But now the documents speak. The texts were not lost. The oversight was not accidental, and your role was not invisible. If you still stand by the values you post about and that Better Markets claims to promote, this would be a good time to show it. Respectfully, the public and Congress are watching. And guys, I would say that this is a set of very interesting questions, and yes, we have to know more about this story because, as I mentioned previously, it is extremely shady story. And in a minute I will show you that Well, even the actions of George Palekers are not so transparent that you might think, and well, I will show you this in a minute, but let me show you the second letter from George Palekers to Mr. Carlson. He wrote, "Dear Mr. Carlson, it seems you were particularly engaged in the evening of the Gensler's press calls with Mr. David Lower. According to FOIA released correspondence below, you reached back out to Amanda Fisher, Chief of Staff to the SEC chair around midnight Eastern Time on the same evening following the broadcast. One wonders what exactly was so urgent. Was it the chairman's tone, the lingering possibility that something could have slipped through the preconditioning filter, or the relief for those topics omitted during the call, namely MMTLP? Because by that point you had already sent Amanda a pre-call memo titled Gary Gensler and Dave Lower on Twitter, in which you explicitly referenced MMTLP, described retail investors as amateurs, shame on you, dismissed concerns of synthetic shorts, and provided suggested talking points for the chair. A few questions then for the public record. Do you consider it appropriate for the CEO of a trading venue to privately brief the SEC chair's chief of staff in advance of a live Q&A with thousands of retail investors listening in, with an aim to steer narrative framing? Was any part of your near-midnight follow-up designed to monitor, evaluate, or correct the outcome of the chairman's appearance? 3. Have you ever briefed the SEC before any of the public appearances by its leadership, or was MMTLP uniquely deserving of late night concern? 4. How frequently do you communicate directly with senior SEC staff in advance of public-facing events, especially those with retail audiences? And finally, if your remarks to the SEC contained potential or misleading representations, which now appear to be contradicted by subsequent FOIA disclosures and broker-dealer admissions, do you plan to issue a clarification or retraction? Everyone has been focused on the U3 halt, but the real breach didn't happen at the end. It happened on day one, the moment MMTLP was allowed to trade. This is a very important point, and I will come back to this within a minute. Next, by the time the U3 was triggered, the damage was already done. The halt didn't cause the crisis, it concealed it. We understand that market stability keeps many executives up at night, but the midnight timing of your note suggests it might not be volatility that's disrupting your sleep, it might be truth. So if you're serious about market integrity and not just another market hypocrite, start the timeline and your briefing at the beginning. Not when they pulled the plug, but when they plugged in a security that should never have gone live. Bonus question: if everything you did was all above board, then why did your senior staff, Patty Kasimates, refuse to share with Metamaterial Tech, the issuer, the names of those who got MMTLP to start trading? What's the big deal keeping you from sharing a couple of names like GTS with the issuer? The public and Congress look forward to your transparent answers. And if you refuse to answer, respectfully stop hiding behind the SEC's skirt and immediately resign your position. Let someone else lead the OTC markets before it's too late. And guys, it is quite interesting, and one of the problems of the trading position, of the trading in general for MMTLP is that the first day of trading that happened, I believe, in October of 2021, and two companies who were the first buyers and sellers of MMTLP shares. Technically, it was just a placeholder. It wasn't a stock, it wasn't a dividend stock, it was just a placeholder. And I would say that, George Palekers asks for transparency, and he wants to see the answers, but we still have the answers to George Palekers himself. Let me show you the other side of the community and its statements. For now, I want to pay attention to Sam's tweets, and she wrote, seems pretty enthusiastic about Wes. And here is the screenshots of George Palekers' tweets. that he wrote in 2024, basically about a year ago, November the 3rd, he wrote, "This is a major start. This is for all of you. More will follow. Our trustee, hiring Wes Christian and his team as special counsel, is a strategic move. All shareholders should take time to understand its potential impact. I am forever thankful for their support, collaboration, and commitment to see this through. I wish I could share more with you all. Stay tuned." And guys, you know that Wes Christian was hired not only he was hired multiple times by Greg McCabe, by John Burda and other people who tried to find some discrepancies, let's put it this way, with the share count, with the short sales numbers, and so on and so forth. But let me remind you that you know that I believe, if I remember it correct, Share Intel knows the data of the real share count, and I make this statement at the beginning of the video that MMTLP has 264 million shares, roughly this number. It is not a coincidence, because according to the statement that was made by Mark Basile, and he made this statement again in a public space call, and I covered it in one of my previous videos when Jen Vetrana basically showed this fact in her Twitter account. We know that MMTLP knows the real share count, but for some reason they don't want to disclose it. And this is the question to George Palikers as well. On top of that, let me show you another screenshot. Wait a second. On November 26, he wrote in response to Mark Basile, Tavern 4 and 5 others. True, as it is also true that if and when the litigation team, more than just Wes, does their work as expected and is able to recover a large enough amount, then I wholeheartedly believe there will be more than enough for the shareholders. There was no secured creditors in MMAT. The creditors are insignificant compared to the potential size of claim, and the waterfall, as it is called, will, in my opinion, flow all the way to every shareholder, maybe for the first time in history, and set precedents. I urge everyone to submit the expression of interest forms before the deadline, which is next month. Guys, I would say it is another quite interesting statement, but this so-called prediction didn't come to fruition. And we know that George Palikers even stated that wait a second, I will show you. Do we have a date of this statement? No, we don't have, but here is the clear statement of the $1.4 billion question. And we know that $1.4 billion is an amount of money that was disclosed as a potential value of the Orogrande Basin that was lost by the board of directors of Next Bridge Hydrocarbons. On top of that, guys, let me show you some comments in regards to this statement about the... Wait a second, this is the first letter, and I want to show you the second one. So, it happened on day one, the moment MMTLP was allowed to trade. And some people think that it was made by the so-called wrongdoers, and two companies, allegedly it was GTS and the second one, to be honest, I forgot its name, but here is the statement from Ocelot, and he wrote this: "George, you say never supposed to trade, but that's just disingenuous. OTC markets aren't like exchanges where companies apply to be on exchanges. Broker-dealers choose which securities to quote on the OTC based largely on demand for the security." On top of that, guys, well, wait a second. Inca Joe wrote this, and Ocelot responded, basically reposted it with this comment: "Great point by Inca Joe, good follow." And Inca Joe wrote: "If you ding-dongs didn't want to trade, you should have made it a non-transferable contingent value right and CVR like every single effing other company that does these kinds of transactions. I didn't hear the insiders complaining while dumping $1 million in stock." And yes, guys, we know that George Palikers, not George Palikers, but John Burda and Greg McCabe sold substantial amount of their shares, of MMTLP shares, and they didn't have any problems with it, because on one of the opinions of the part of MMTLP community, the MMTLP was made tradable intentionally, and this was written in documents of the merger of MMAT, of Meta, I believe, and TRCH back in 2021. And this was made intentionally in order to sell the shares from Greg McCabe and John Burda to the general public, which leads to substantial losses of the MMTLP shareholders, and which led to substantial gains for Greg McCabe and for George Palkers as well. But guys, again, we want to have more transparency, and if John Burda and George Palkers asks for transparency, they asks authorities for transparency, why didn't they answer these tricky questions by themselves? Don't you think that it is a quite tricky situation when they ask for transparency, but they are not 100% transparent themselves? It is quite tricky, but well, I believe we will find it out, and I see that we have very interesting news that are potentially coming within next several months, and just stay tuned and see you in the next video. Bye!
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gone live it up.